welcome, I'm Tim and this is TimBatSea, and we are sailing a brand new, relatively brand new, a year or two old Norwegian cruise ship. And about 945 feet long, I think. And we're getting ready to go, so let me set everything up. Alright, you got me, Tyler?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, start and stern, work the bow. Okay. Steering check. Engine check. Everything's good. So just to give you an idea, we are right here. This is what we call the North River, or the Hudson River. Hoboken, New Jersey over here, the Battery for Manhattan. And to tell you the truth, I'm not exactly sure where we're going yet, but we don't have to check in with traffic yet. So I'm not too worried about it yet. We'll get out of here and figure out where we're going before we check in with traffic. Now you may notice that we're pointed out, and that's kind of that we do something really cool here. We come up, well, I think it's cool anyway. We come up here and back into the slip. And if you want to see that done, I have a video that seemed to get a lot of I don't know, maybe people could accuse me of clickbait. I guess in my defense, I wanted to say I backed into a cruise ship slip, but forgot to put the slip in. So it looked like I said I backed into a cruise ship. Anyway, if you look for that video, there's a ton of views on that. Tyler, do you want me to come ahead a little bit, or is that right where you need to be?
That's where we're at.
All right. So they come up here and they have an assist tug usually, and they swing around with the tide and back right in out of the tide, and it's, usually it looks pretty daunting at first, and then once you do it a couple times, you realize, man, this is the right way to do it. It really works. When it works well, it looks great and feels good that you do a good job, and like I say, it seems to work. So right now we're kind of coming off a little bit, which is good. You need to separate. We don't want a brand new beautiful cruise ship here. We don't need to put any streaks on the side of it. So now that he's done, I've got about 10 degrees of port wheel.
All arms in, Cap.
Alright, so look, when we get out there, when I stick my nose out, you make sure that nobody's coming, alright? Because, you know, I see a ferry out there or something like that, but, you know, nobody that we're going to hit is what I'm saying.
Alright, yes, sir.
Alright, so I'm going to slowly start walking off a little bit. Make sure that my rudder about 10 degrees to port, and we're doing a right twist, and that kind of lifts everything off.
Got about 3 foot in the bow, 2 foot in the stern.
I'm going to make a security call. Security call, Tug Cape Fear getting underway alongside the cruise ship at berth 88. We'll be coming out and bound for the city.
5 foot in the bow.
Alright, so we're coming out nice and flat. I'm going to give us a little bit more separation, and then we're going to come out like a cork out of a bottle. Like I say, once I get out there in the stream, the tide, you might be able to see the tide is working and wanting to push me towards the ship. So I'm going to open it up a little bit. So that I have a little bit more room.
15 on the back.
But just to be safe, and what I mean by safe is if I come out and he says, oh, there's some kayaks here or something that we can't see, I'll have time and room to back down before I fall onto the ship. Okay, so she's coming out pretty good. I'm going to stop my backing engine. Still got about 10 degrees of port rudder because we're moving to the starboard. Alright, you let me know if you see anybody out there. Okay, now I'm going to put my rudder hard. Oh, there's that little boat right there. Oh. Guess Tyler didn't think he was a threat. She probably really...
Clear to the left.
Alright. We'll let that little cruiser go by before we
Oh yeah, Princess, FDR.
hook it up. Alright, here we go.
President back.
Clear all the way around.
I'll be heading to,
Alright, good deal. Let's call it 1410 underway.
Alright, yes sir.
Hey, ask the tankerman if he knows where we're going.
He said IMTT.
Alright, ask him which one.
Say Convo.
Very good. So to be fair, the not knowing where we're going is only a reflection of my own laziness. That they have all those orders in the computer, and when I talk to my dispatcher, there's all kinds of ways to know that. I just know that I have some time and I'm not really concerned about it because I know that I'm going that way. And so I'll figure all that out. Now I got 2 engines and we're just about hooked up here, and we're coming around hard rudder, hard over to the port. It is a beautiful Sunday here. You can see some sailboats sailing around, some pleasure boats, and of course the occasional ferry. Yeah, like I say, if you are interested in seeing how they get in here, which I got to tell you, backing in is much more exciting to watch than pulling out. Especially that was relatively easy. It went well, so there wasn't a lot of excitement there for you to see. But I will try to put a link to the video of us backing in. Like I say, it's a pretty popular video, so hopefully if you haven't seen it, you'll like it. Looks like a helicopter's coming in for a landing over here. Hoboken straight ahead. Manhattan on the left.
Atlantic Manhattan, Empire State. For approximately 5 minutes. 343, standing by 1312.
All right. So, as much as I'd love to drag this video out, you guys have seen just about all there is to see. Okay, so let me show you what we've done here. We've basically come down the North River, come down this red line right here, the Hudson River, we call it the North River, came through the back channel over here, and I've been doing this on a super slow bell. Oops, I'm showing you everything, I'm sorry about that. You go back here. So, we came down the Hudson, like this, on the red line going over here, came through the back channel, and we put the chart plotter back here, And so right now we have to go in right over here. Oops. Right where that line came out of. But we've got a couple things that are going on. The wind is blowing 20 to 25 from left to right, and there's a little bit of a tide issue. The barge is light, and the reason why I've been going on a slow bell is because the slow bell means we're going as slow as we can, because at this dock we have to have line handlers, and you have to schedule them in advance, and they had scheduled it for 1600 or 4 o'clock, and so now we got about 10 minutes before we're there. So the dock is over here. I hope you can see that. Now let me put this over here, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. I'm going to crank the camera this way a little bit because that's where everything's going to happen. So what my plan is,
Traffic for the.
I'm hoping that the tide won't be an issue. I think the wind won't blow us on the
Yeah, let me
dock.
step in the tide here off the Duraport for a second.
But I think what's going to happen is that the wind is going to blow me around. But when I make the turn, the wind should be coming up behind me, so it won't really. I don't think the wind's going to blow us onto the dock as much as I kind of wish it was. I'm looking at the buoy right here, and it looks like there's a little bit of flood on the buoy, which is something that's going to hurt us. But if we get far enough in there, we should be all right. We don't have an assist, but hopefully we won't need it. These tugs handle these light barges really well. They handle loaded ones well too, but light barges especially. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing some fair tide on that buoy, which is that's not something that's going to help us out at all. So that's something that I just have to be aware of. I've called Tyler, he's headed out there. Now you can see that barge that's there. That's on the close side, the north side, and we're going on the south side of that. Now what I want to do is, because the wind is still blowing me sideways here, I want to make sure that I got to start giving a little bit more right wheel here, because I don't want to crowd that dock. I want to get over there and then drive up to it. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that per se. But if it turns out that the wind is blowing me on the dock, and because the barge is light and it's basically a big sail, my plan is, you can see that big fender on the outside of the dock there. If I have to, I can land the corner of the barge on that fender and then roll myself into the dock to slow it down. That's not where we'll end up. I think we'll end up much further ahead. You can see the other barge that's in there is much further ahead than those last fenders over there. Okay, so now we're getting more straight here, so we're looking better all the time. I'm just one engine right now, just trying to keep the speed down. We still got another 7 minutes before we're due in there, so you don't have to get in there exactly on time, but what I don't want to do is do a great job, get to the dock, and then not have anyone there to catch a line for us. That would be a disaster. And believe me, if you ask how I know that, because I've done that more times than I'd like to remember. By the time the line handlers show up, I'm all out of shape and fighting everything. So hopefully everything will go nice and well right now. We're going to get there a little bit early, but that's all right. And I'm watching the wind, and I believe that when I make this, I'm at a 45-degree angle here. When I make the turn, the wind should be directly on the back of us. And so hopefully, if everything goes well, and okay, now here's another telltale. I'm looking at the barge that's there, and it has a boom around it, and the boom is pressed up against the barge. So that's telling me that the tide is going to be pulling me off the dock. So I won't have any help from the wind, and the tide is going to be hurting me. So, all right, Tyler, you out there?
Yes, sir.
All right, good deal. So the tide's going to be pulling me off the dock. The wind shouldn't be an issue. I'm going to get over there, and when we get up there, should be able to get a line, and everything will be cool.
Alright, yes, sir.
Okay, so we're doing 3.1 knots right now. Everything's looking good. Zoom in on my chart plotter so I can keep a real good eye on that predictor line. Now I'd like to go all stop and settle down, but if I do, I think the wind is going to blow me right at the corner of that dock. So I have to keep the way up until I can see down the dock. Because remember, the wind's blowing in line with the dock, and the dock is off, you know, at an angle to the right. Whenever I say stuff like this, I wonder if it's as clear to the people receiving this as it is to me sending it. All right, so we're at 3.3 now, which is, like I say, not ideal, but we should be able to, because it's a light barge, I should be able to stop it. So like I say, I'm trying to go and look down that look down the side of the dock that we're at, and then I'll start bringing the bow over. Almost there now. Okay, so now I'm going to take it out of gear, see if we can bleed off a little bit of energy here. And you know what? I'm starting to see down that flat of the dock, so I'm going to put my rudder hard right. And I'm even going to start, I'm going to just put my starboard engine in clutch. It's not going to do a whole lot, but it'll slow us down a little bit. Now my wheel is hard right. I'm going to start twisting, right hand twist to start getting flattened out, because looking down, all those fenders are in a line now. So now I really want to get over flat there, because if the tide pulls me because if the tide pulls me off, that's not gonna, it's gonna be ground I'm gonna have to make up.
So 10 foot and your bow will be even with the manifold.
All right.
And you got that guy's waiting on it.
Ah, that's great, good deal. Okay, so the bow is swinging now.
30 foot midship.
Now I'm gonna, while I keep doing this, I'm gonna start swinging my rudder the other way to try to almost walk the barge over while we're still got forward momentum going. We're doing about 2.2 knots. I'm going to start backing a little harder. Now I'm only,
50 foot on the bow.
because we're not flat yet, I'm only good 10 degrees of left rudder, so that the bow still comes around, but I'm starting to walk the stern over a little bit. Backing a little harder now. As these things start to cavitate, she's bouncing pretty good. Okay, we're at 2.3, so everything's looking good. And it looks like there's a little bit of wind on the dock, so that's a great thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting my rudder hard right now. I mean hard left. And what I'm doing, why I'm doing that is because I really want to land this thing flat, and I need to get the stern over. Okay, you know what? I'm going to switch the engines and do a left-hand twist to lift that bow off. There we go. All right, 15 foot. All right, we're flattening out all the time, but we're doing about a knot, so I'm going to start slowing down. I'm going to put both engines astern now because we're flat. There we go. We get stopped, and we're slowly just letting the wind that I didn't think was going to help me is actually
about 10 foot off.
Actually going to help us good. How the taker want us to come? Takerman want us to come ahead any? Okay, that bow's coming in again, so.
Alright, we gotta come back now.
Okay, coming back. I thought we had to go.
I'll put off the
Alright. So I keep giving a little bit of a left-hand twist so that bow stays off. I'm trying to get the stern over a little bit while I back up. Okay, now the bow is out more than the stern is, and as long as we don't hit the pad back here in the stern, we should be fine. But I'm going to let the wind push the bow over, because the wind is going to push the bow over much faster than it'll
3 foot off on the bow.
push the stern over. And the reason being is that we're the heavy tug, that's the weight, and there's only about, you know, 2 foot of barge in the water up there in the bow. And now it's settling in really nicely. How are we doing on the spot? So you want to keep coming back?
Hang on now.
How are we doing on the spot? Does he want to keep coming back?
Oh, we're good right where we're at.
All right, we'll just let her settle in here and do your thing. All right, looks like the bow is in a little bit more than the stern, so I'm just gonna do a left-hand twist in clutch. I can see my fender here on the stern, and I'm not going to interfere with that, so everything's good. Line going out. I've been watching this, those that know me know that I'm an aviation buff, and there's a naval aviator.
Alright, you can start working into it now.
Okay, coming in. There's a naval aviator
I'm gonna flip
named...
your head because you say I come ahead about 5 foot.
Perfect. Just make sure I don't get interfered with that pad in the bow.
Alright, you're gonna have to bring the bow out. Looks like you're gonna come into it.
Okay, so I'm going to back real hard to make sure I don't come into that fender.
Alright, you're all clear.
Alright.
Alright, I'm making the launch test.
Very good. So now I've got the rudder hard to port, and I've got my starboard engine just in clutch. That should hold us up against the dock while they put everything in. And yeah, so I've been watching this video channel called Growler James. Okay, at this point I have to stop the video and clear something up. I'm an idiot. I can't do two things at once, and clearly as I'm trying to run the boat and talk to you guys, I say things that I don't clearly think out. I'm so embarrassed that I said this. I don't know why, because I know better than this, but it's Growler Jams, not Growler James. I'm an idiot. What can I tell you? Anyway, Growler Jams, that's the one you want to see. And it's a naval aviator that flies the F-18 Growler. I think it's called, it's an F-18 frame, but it's an electronic warfare plane. And anyway, one of the things that I've noticed about his channel that I really like is when he just does a talk over, you know, he does a voiceover, and he's talking about all the stuff that's going on in his head. And I really like that a lot, so I'm trying to do more and more of that with you guys, so you guys know what I'm thinking, what we're trying to do, and that sort of stuff. So hopefully that will work. Any of you guys out there that are Growler James fans, let me know. Okay, so they're putting out the bow line now, so I don't have to worry about the bow coming off. I'm going to start making sure that my stern is pressed up against, but giving more left wheel. Now what would that normally do, because I'm not on the pad back here in the stern, is it would pop the bow out, but they're putting the bow line out. Actually, you know what? Maybe I get a little ahead of myself. When he tightens that bow line up, though, that should hold us right against everything just fine. Okay, so we've got a couple lines out while they tie it up. I'm going to check out with traffic. Traffic from the Cape Fear. We're all secure. 7-6 IMTT con hook. Thank you. Love those guys at VTS. Great. Well, that worked a little better than I was expecting. I came around the corner and I was like, oh man, the tide's going to pull me right off of there. But once again, the tide doesn't work on a light barge as much as it works on a loaded barge. But I didn't think I was going to have the wind, but I ended up having just a little bit of the wind. I mean, I'm looking at the wind right now, and the wind is about 20 degrees off of my port quarter. So it's just land, even though it's blowing, well, it says 17.6 right now, blowing behind me. That's a lot of wind, but because of the angle, it doesn't give me a lot of force, but generally, nicely, gently pushes me over that way. And so it seemed to work out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that. Hey, if you like these videos, be sure to, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the bell. If the spirit leads you, we'd love to have you hit the hard thank you button or head over to the Patron page. I'll put a link in the description for a couple bucks a month or whatever you want. You can help support the production of these videos. And be sure to check out my other page, my other channel, SV Paquita. And if I've been saying a lot lately, just because I really trying to get the word out about my buddy John's company. If you're a mariner or considering becoming a mariner, you're going to need a whole bunch of help with your credentials. I mean, we've all done it alone in the past, but it's a lot of stress that doesn't need to be. And for just a few shekels, you can have a real advocate, somebody that knows what they're doing, and help you through the paperwork process, whether you're getting your first issuance or you're doing a renewal or an upgrade. John knows all the legality stuff and what forms you need and everything. He can email you everything, and then you do it. You send it back to him. He makes sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and then when everything's good, he sends it in, because it's a common story we hear here, where somebody does everything. They send in their renewal stuff, and they've done it all in time. The only problem is that one box wasn't checked, one thing goes wrong, it gets spit out of the system, and they get put back 3 to 6 months in the process. So in other words, the National Maritime Center has to figure out the problem and then send it back to you. You have to correct it, send it back to them, and you go back in the bottom of the list again. So having an advocate like marinercredentials.com really helps a lot. I don't get any money for these. I just know John. John is the captain that works opposite me, and he is a great guy. You can call him anytime, and he's a great guy. He does great work, and he has taken all the stress out for me for all of my renewal stuff, and just wanted to share that with you. You guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you like these videos. I only got let's see, today's Sunday, so I only got one more day tomorrow to shoot something, and then that will be the end of it for the New York videos for a while I go back to Puerto Rico. But once again, thank you so much. Take care. Be safe. And as always, I'll see you on the water.